And worst of all, they denied the violence and trauma that led to the death of some of my fellow officers.
Not this time. Total fabrication. It never happened. It's false.
What's up, guys? Boy Benny. Happy Fedsurrection Day. What a special anniversary that we all have marked on our calendars. I'm sure that Adam Kinzinger is sobbing at the base of his Fedsurrection Christmas tree and opening up presents from January 6th. Maybe he'll get Nancy Pelosi's lectern. Who knows? But for those of us who've actually been following this story, it's a little bit more dour today because we've realized that today was the day that the federal government weaponized against thousands of innocent Americans and criminalized the First Amendment. In the First Amendment, you are allowed to protest your government. You are, in fact, instructed to bring your redresses to your government, to tell your government the things you don't like about it. And ladies and gentlemen, more and more, as we crystallize what actually happened on the morning of January 6th, we realize that is precisely what the vast preponderance and majority of people were doing. They were not behaving dangerously. They were not breaking or stealing or burning buildings down. That's what the leftist orcs did to the White House. No, these people paraded peacefully and were let into the building by the officers there. One of those officers, by the way, has just announced that he will be running for Congress, in case you're wondering if this wasn't all about power, because it all was. The narrative itself, the creation of January 6th, the Fedsurrection, all of the consequences of that day, none of them helped the right. None of them helped Donald Trump. All of them assisted in furtherance of the agenda of the left. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, those people who were involved in orchestrating that event are seeking further power by running for Congress. Now, Harry Dunn is a Capitol Hill police officer who released an ad for his congressional run featuring a Hollywood studio dramatization of what he thought happened during January 6th. Now, we're going to compare and contrast that to what actually happened on January 6th, and we're going to see if maybe you could spot the difference, okay? Shall we?
On this day,
oh, okay, so it starts off with a giant breaking glass being shattered in the hallways of Congress. You're going to have to show me where in the 40,000 hours of video you can find fire alarms going off and someone shattering glass in the hallways. Please, Harry Dunn. I'm going to try so hard not to stop every second of this.
my role was as a Capitol police officer. I'm Harry Dunn, and that meant putting aside who I am, a father, a Marylander, a Democrat, because I swore an oath to protect our Constitution, to protect our democracy.
So beyond like the subliterate reading of the script here, and the fact that his voice doesn't match up with the words that are actually being spoken, which I can't get out of my head, but nonetheless, see the lady in the side ripping something off the wall, ripping a photo off the wall, little old grandma lady? Notice how all of the actors are old white people? Very subtle that, Harry Dunn. And Harry Dunn wasn't done yet. Harry Dunn announced that he's a Democrat. Oh yes, very important in your police work that you are a Democrat.
It's what allowed me to protect some members of Congress who I knew were bigots.
Oh, who are they? Who are the bigots? Why don't you name them? Which members of Congress were bigots? Oh, you protected members of Congress who you said were bigots? Who are they exactly? Why would you wish to serve in Congress if they elect bigots? Harry, so many questions.
Who helped fan the flames that started all of this. I put country above self. The problem is, a lot of them didn't. Some of the same people who stood behind us when we protected them went back on the floor of Congress and stood behind Trump. They voted to acquit him. And worst of all, they denied the violence and trauma that led to the death of some of my fellow officers.
What about Ashley Babbitt? Hey, Harry Dunn. Hey, Harry. Harry. Hello. Bueller. McFly. What about Ashley Babbitt? What do you mean led to the death of your fellow officers? What are you talking about? There were no police officers killed on January 6th. I openly disown and will not defend people who fight cops, okay? No matter what you're wearing. But there were no cops that died. The person who died on January 6th were killed by one of your police officers. one of the security agents at the Capitol. Murdered in cold blood without warning. Ashley Babbitt was unarmed. Will Ashley Babbitt be making a cameo in this farce of an ad? Let's watch.
I couldn't stand by and watch.
Oh, look at all the people, like, again, look at the bearded, the central casting, bearded old white guys. Bearded old white guys and white grandmothers. The demonization, the villainous of this, the sick villainy of this. Going through, you will find no footage looking like this from inside the actual halls of Capitol. But this is what this guy is promoting via his Hollywood studio that's filming this reenactment. Why not? Hey, Harry Dunn, why not just use the footage of what happened on there's 40,000 hours of it out there. Why not use the actual footage from January 6th? Oh, not hardcore enough for you? Not enough people shattering glass, burning the place down? Yeah.
I had another role to play. I used my voice to speak out, to get into good trouble.
I'm a servant. I'm nothing but a humble servant. This was never about me. And that's why it was all about me. That's why I ran to the media and took every booking I possibly could, got an agent, and then go met Joe Biden. That's why I did all that. Because it's not about me. That's why I went running the TV cameras.
And a few weeks ago, I left the force after more than 15 years of service. So that today, I can announce I'm running for Congress. We can't ever let this happen again. And you've heard it from Trump himself. He is hell-bent on finishing.
Look at that. Look at that image. Did you see any image like that in the January 6 tapes? If there was an image like that in the January 6 tapes, I'd play it for you. With them throwing papers and like waving flags and like marauding around. No, this looks exactly like a BLM protest. It's so shocking.
What he started this day. I'm stepping into a new role today, but I can't do it alone.
Oh.
I believe every one of us has a role to play in this fight. So join me. We've got a democracy to protect.
Okay, look at that. So they have the actual studio. You got to see this. So they have the actual studio that produced it there. So instead of using the massive amount of January 6 footage that is available, publicly available, instead of using any footage of what Harry Dunn was doing that day, and all of his officers were doing that day, which was standing around and letting people parade through the halls, and then when they asked them to leave, they all left politely. Harry Dunn had to go to a movie studio to create a fabrication for his ad to match the wet fever dream of Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney spooning together, waking up with all sweaty in the middle of the night. This is what they dreamed January 6th was. This is what they desperately wished January 6th was. Unfortunately, January 6th, for them, was actually more like this.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the U.S. Capitol building. If you've joined us today for the insurrection, please make sure you pick up a promotional leaflet on the way in, stay inside the safety cordons at all times, and if you get lost, speak to one of our Capitol police officers. They'll be sure to point you in the right direction. And be sure to set aside a little time today to join us for some insurrection activities, including our photography tour, our fancy dress competition, and have a go on our climbing wall. But don't forget those safety ropes. And I've now received the results of our fancy dress competition. The winner today is Jacob Chansley. That's Mr. Jacob Chansley. If you could report to your nearest Capitol Police officer, they'll be sure to give you your prize, a guided tour of the building. And all that's left is for me to thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the insurrection. Wherever possible, please try to clean up after yourselves. Don't forget to visit the souvenir shop on the way out. And feel free to join us on the outdoor terrace for Nancy Pelosi's Insurrection Soiree. Grab yourself a light refreshment and enjoy the music of our very own fancy dress competition winner.
Okay. Got it. All right. Yes. Elon Musk shared that meme. Oh, man. So good. So we've all seen the footage. We've seen the people like just kind of peacefully wobbling around and taking photos and then leaving when asked. It was all a lie. It is still continues to be a lie, and you've seen the lie perpetuated time and time again. Joe Biden released one of his first ads running for president. Again, isn't it amazing that this is used in so many advertisements? It's almost like Democrats wish to create their own January 6th, wish to create their own 9/11 for political purposes. Biden campaign focuses on democracy in first ad. Check this out. Biden just released the first ad of 2024. The main threat to the country? You. You guessed it. Watch.
I've made the preservation of American democracy the central issue of my presidency. I believe in free and fair elections and the right to vote fairly and have your vote counted. There's something dangerous happening in America. There's an extremist movement that does not share the basic beliefs in our democracy. All of us are being asked right now, what will we do to maintain our democracy? History's watching. The world is watching. And most important, our children and grandchildren will hold us responsible. The Vice President and I have supported voting rights since day one of this administration, and I ask every American to join me in this cause. America is still a place of possibilities, where the power resides with we, the people. That's our soul. We are the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity when we act together. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
What are the reactions to this ad? Insane gaslighting. Illegitimate regime stole the 2020 election. They want to solidify a rigged system. We will stop them. It does look like Joe Biden, straight up, is calling half the country an extremist movement. People are such sick monsters. The J6 fear-mongering from Democrats is so embarrassing. It's all they have. It's so true. It's so true. Biden's new ad elevates the rhetoric even more. From the party that is removing their opposition on the ballot, he calls you an extremist for not wanting to vote for him. Joe Biden's not trying to further divide America with a new ad calling Trump supporters an extremist movement. If loving your country and hating how Biden has ruined it makes me an extremist, then I wear that as a badge of honor. I think this is going to have a major backfire. See if you can find the difference between the vibe of that ad and the ads that Donald Trump's putting out.
Millions of Americans sincerely love Donald Trump. They love him in spite of everything they've heard. They love him often in spite of himself. They love Donald Trump because no one else loves them. The country they built, the country their ancestors fought for over hundreds of years, has left them to die in their unfashionable little towns, mocked and despised by the sneering half-wits with finance degrees but no actual skills who seem to run everything all of a sudden. Whatever Donald Trump's faults, he is better than the rest of the people in charge. At least he doesn't hate them for their weakness. Donald Trump, in other words, is and has always been a living indictment of the people who run this country. That was true 4 years ago when Trump came out of nowhere to win the presidency, and it's every bit as true right now. Trump rose because they failed. It's as simple as that. If the people in charge had done a halfway decent job with the country they inherited, if they'd cared about anything other than themselves, even for just a moment, Donald Trump would still be hosting Celebrity Apprentice. But they didn't. Instead, they were incompetent and narcissistic and cruel and relentlessly dishonest. They wrecked what they didn't build. They lied about it. They hurt anyone who told the truth about what they were doing. That's true. We watched. America is still a great country, the best in the world, but our ruling class is disgusting. A vote for Trump is a vote against them. That's what's going on in this country.
Ladies and gentlemen, no politician is perfect. You don't have to love Donald Trump to know that there is a massive difference between that and the fascistic fear-mongering and hatred of your fellow countrymen that Democrats are offering. But here we are. This is our moment. So what do you believe? Is it this? Is it this? This literal fabrication? Trying to create, trying to cast your fellow Americans as terrorists? Insane gaslighting. No. These people deserve the election loss that is coming to them. The American people are better than this. Be smart today and know that the truth shall set you free. And we are not a nation of slaves. We are free men and women, and we want the truth. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. Stay based. Happy Fedsurrection Day.